Let us begin with the overview of the spinal cord. Remember that the spinal cord is a neural highway that proceeds inferiorly from the medulla into the vertebral column all the way down, terminating at level L1, L2 at a structure called the conus medullaris. Inferior to that, we can appreciate a bundle of nerve fibers coming inferiorly, forming what we know as the cauda equina. In total, the spinal cord has a total of 31 segments. These segments of nerves are made up of 8 cervical nerves, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, 5 sacral, and 1 coccygeal. The spinal cord is also comprised of white and gray matter. And we remind ourselves that the gray matter will be made up of the cell bodies, all the neurons that will be traveling, ascending and descending through the spinal cord. Now, one other thing to remember is that the vertebral column, on the other hand, has 7 cervical vertebrae, whereas the spinal cord has 8 cervical nerves. So when we are given a test question, it's very important to pay attention to the language that is being used so that we know whether we're being asked about the spinal nerves or we're being asked about the vertebrae. Let's have a look at the cross-section of the spinal cord. Now, whenever you're given an image, it's always important to get your orientation or your bearings, have an appreciation of anterior and posterior. And remember, other language that can be used is ventral and dorsal. Looking right in the middle of the column, we find our spinal cord. Remember, we said the spinal cord will be made out of the white matter, which is the outermost, and the butterfly-looking innermost layer will be the gray matter. Right in the middle will be the central canal. This is ventral, and this is dorsal. This will be the lateral aspect. As you can imagine, you'll be having ascending and descending fibers at different areas of the spinal cord, and locating lesions in these different areas is very useful in explaining signs and symptoms. Now, right adherent to the spinal cord is the meningeal layer pia mater. And after pia mater, we can appreciate the arachnoid matter, and outermost will be the dural layer. So from outer to innermost, we have the outermost covering being the dura mater, and deep to the dura mater will be the arachnoid matter, and deep to that and adherent to the spinal cord will be the pia mater. We can see some nerves coming in dorsally and some ventrally. Now, as a rule of thumb, most of the information coming in dorsally is going to be sensory information, and information leaving ventrally is going to be motor innervation or efferent innervation to muscles and glands. Let's have a look at this image. Still looking at the spinal cord, now outside the spinal column. Outermost to inner, we can see the dura mater, which is the meningeal layer, and deep to that is the arachnoid matter, and deep to that is the pia mater. Now remember what I said, orientation is very important. Anterior, posterior, ventrally, dorsal. This makes a whole lot of sense, especially when we start looking at the tracts. And this is the gray matter. And remember what we said this was? The central canal.